fuck top 5 90s and fuck top 3. I'm the number one 90, don't fuck with me. Fuck any of the 90s, since they better than Ravine. Cause I'm 85 years old, 85 years old, 85 years with my family on my back, so I'll last everybody on my fucking haters. Don't know me now, then you never know me later. Say, woo! I be in an elevator to the top, go and find your own way there. Drinking hella water, pour for me by my waiter. Not just anyone, but the hair fucking Vader. At the top where it means, got a green ring, keep me looking nice. React in the show just in case I go to base, but you never catch me, better just catch safe.
Give a crown to you. Bow down for you. Look around for you. Make a sound for you.
This the 90 anthem, give me another bantam. Weight class, walk past, no different ransom. Got a grandson that's handsome and handsome. Spends his income on dim sum to fill time. You talking retention. Me, I'm talking expansion. Got the whole squad, yeah, keep them in detention. And I'm not in the princess, I'm taking no tension. So, gather round now, celebrate me. I'm your boss, I'm your fucking honey. Got the doctorate, bitch, so don't fucking try me. Don't need a nano, cause I'm living my dream. Kitty my dream. Run this whole city like a rummy on things. Stay sending people up, I'm seeing the shot. If you see me in the streets,
What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hassan Piker. This is the Hustler broadcast coming to you live from New York City, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and MBs, it's a beautiful day here in New York, New York. We're live, we're alive, and I hope everyone's having a fantastic one because it's a particularly windy day here in New York City, New York, ladies and gentlemen. And we're live, we're alive, and I hope everyone's having a fantastic one. It's November 4th, 2025. And the winds that we're feeling that are outside when you were walking around and you're doing your last get out the vote initiatives, or maybe you're going down to your polling station here in Manhattan or any of the 5 boroughs in New York City. When you are feeling those winds, those are winds of change, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Those aren't just winds that are blowing your hair away. Those are winds of change. I hope in my heart, I feel those winds of change as well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and MBs, we are at the precipice of potentially implementing woke Sharia white boy jihad. And I, of course, am Hassan Piker. This is the Hassanabi broadcast. This is the base of command for the woke Sharia instruments of law, the organs of justice. We will make the ummah stronger than it ever has before. We will make everyone revert, and we will make everyone pay jizya. I'm Antifa CEO Hassan Hassanabi Piker, and I hope everyone's having a fantastic one today because I am going to try to make the most of this beautiful, exciting environment that I'm a part of, that I am basically holding on to for dear life, if you know what I mean. We're live. It's a big day for many different reasons that I will get to, but this is a part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news, about what's going on in the world of Hassan Hassanabi Piker in between the time period where I press the stop streaming button and press the start streaming button. So help me God, so help me Allah, I will tell you exactly what I have done. And obviously this is probably not shocking to a single person, but I've done pretty much nothing. I ended the broadcast yesterday after 6 hours because I had to go and do a podcast, because I've been just doing a media tear when I'm out here, because a lot of my friends and a lot of the people whose content I enjoy, they live out here. And that's what I did. I went on Gianmarco Soresi's podcast last night. We shot a wonderful episode. It's going to be out in a couple weeks, I believe. Maybe next week, hopefully. But yeah, very, very exciting stuff. And also on top of that podcast, I shot it, came back to my hotel, passed out, woke up early, and I obviously went and shot The Majority Report. The Majority Report. For those of you who don't know, The Majority Report is hosted by Emma Vigeland and Sam Cedar. I was on their show earlier, and it was fantastic, and I greatly enjoyed it. I love being around some young and maybe some not so young radical minds. Okay, I ended up riffing with H. John Benjamin, which was pretty cool. I mean, he's dope. He's a friend of the show for Majority Report, so I guess he's technically a friend of the show for this show as well now. That's how it works. That's how it works. So I don't make the rules. But folks, we are live. We are live. I'm wearing my merchandise. That is also live. The only thing that's live and alive is not necessarily just the city that is alive and excited, but also the merchandise. That's right. It's merch day. We're bringing it back. The new Dark Ages collection merch is now available at ideology.shop. As always, you already know what it is. Union made, USA made, baby. We got the Dungeon and Democracy shirt for the D&D enjoyers. We got the Dark Ages shirt. We got the Pentagon hoodie, the Dark Ages hoodie. You already know. We got the Burger Reich, Murder Burger, but Burger Reich shirt as well. But yeah, get it while it's hot. Get it while you can. International shipping, you already know what it is. But of course, while we are live and we're alive, and I'm wearing the Disarm shirt right now, as you can see, one of my favorites in the collection, and we got another baby tee as well, no winning baby tee. While we are live and we are alive, okay, there is a person who unfortunately is not live and alive, as a matter of fact. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me tremendous pleasure, but also somewhat a little bit of displeasure, and I'll get into that in a second, to report to you that a man that is perhaps one of the most consequential war criminals of our lifetime, of our generation, is now dead. Obviously, we're going to be talking about that extensively today, in spite of the other major incident that's going on. I wanted to start the broadcast with some fun. Your IG story comment was heartbreaking. What is my IG story comment? Yeah, Dick Cheney is a horrifying individual, and it was not a part of my predictions for 2025, so I'll take the L on that. Because I've always been an evil never dies type of person, and unironically, I have often used Dick Cheney as the example for how evil never dies, and today, or I guess yesterday technically, is the last time that I can use that example, because last night, this morning, whenever you want to fucking call it, evil did die. Except evil didn't die in the way that it deserved to, rotting away in the basement of The Hague or wherever, supermax security style prison you normally would put an evil war criminal such as Dick Cheney for the metric ton of crimes that he engaged in. Unfortunately, for all of those who enjoy real justice, he passed away, I suspect, surrounded by his friends and family. A pleasure that, or a right, really, that he took away from millions of people. Now, you guys know I'm not Mr. Single Man Theory. I don't believe in the great man theory at all. I don't usually lay the blame or responsibility of the actions of empire gently on the shoulders of one man. Having said that, however, there are unique figures in American history that are pivotal, that have greatly accelerated the evils of capital, and Dick Cheney certainly is one of those people. I like to make I usually have a special place for people like Ronald Reagan, 666, descendant of the devil, but also Dick Cheney as well. Dick Cheney is an exceptionally cruel, monstrous individual, a horrifying puppet master who is responsible for so much evil in this world and so much of the destabilizing factor of the Bush-Cheney administration can still be felt. The reverberations can still be felt. And you know, obviously we had to do a pack watch RIP Bozo for the absolute fucking worst monstrous dipshit. Okay? Dick Cheney, for those of you who don't know, I guess, is a major advocate of the unitary executive theory. A lot of the things that you see in the Trump administration that you look at and you go, why the fuck is no one doing anything? Why is no one stopping this? Like, Dick Cheney was so incredibly formative in advancing these causes. Everything that you fucking hate about Donald Trump, the lack of control, the lack of pushback, seemingly this almost monarchic style construct that we have in what remains of the ashes of American democracy. Dick Cheney was the accelerant. Okay, I cannot begin to explain to you how evil of a fucking person he was. And I know that all around the world right now, especially in the Middle East and North African region, there are millions of people that are celebrating the death of a man that was able to escape justice until his very last breath. So while we do celebrate for a brief moment that evil has died, just remember that unfortunately no justice will ever be served. Okay? So, you know, my celebrations are somewhat tempered in that regard. Something to consider, something to remember. And if you see the organs of media hail this man as a champion, remember that they are fraudulent. Remember that this is a moment where they're showing their asses collectively. The endless need, the desire to engage in this hagiography of truly evil deities, mankind's worst ambitions, personified in this disgusting, monstrous format in Dick Cheney, and all of these fucking people will turn around and act as though the lives that he took because of his ambition, so that he could turn a fucking profit for the defenders of capital, will always show you exactly what people's true ambitions are. Okay, remember that. But he endorsed Kamala before he died. Yeah, I don't give a fuck, dummy. That's worse for Kamala Harris than it is a savior for Dick Cheney. That is the level of evil that he is. It's like saying Adolf Hitler endorsed Kamala Harris. Okay, would that mean that Adolf Hitler is good? Or does that mean Kamala Harris is bad? Because there is a threshold of evil that once you go beyond, you are somewhat irredeemable. Okay? Who gives a shit? In any case, we'll get to all of that and more, obviously, as always. But once again, as I said earlier this morning, when I woke up, and that was one of the first things that I found out, I said, genuinely one of the most evil people to exist in modern history. I cannot stress this enough. He got zero punishment for his actions, caused incalculable harm to entire regions, millions killed, tens of millions displaced, and he got to pass away quietly, surrounded by family. Something that he forcibly took away from millions, tens of millions, okay? Just remember that. 50 bones, check the user. Hold on. I will be checking the user for the 50 bones. Open presence, thank you for the, I think 50 or maybe more than that. I don't know. I can't see. There's too much going on right now. There are too many gifters for me to see. Open presence with 100 bones. Are you going to move to New York City? I'm pro Midwest Hasanabe arc personally. I'm not moving anywhere. I'm going to probably stay in the protector of the gruesome Governor Gavin Newsom. But we shall see. We shall see what happens today. We shall see. Things change, okay? Things change. I am but a mere observer of the passage of time. Dick Cheney's oil money with the 50 bones. Thank you, Dick Cheney's oil money, for the 50 gifted subs. In any case, what a glorious day regardless. What a glorious day regardless. Hopefully, we started off with Tricky Dick's passing with some good news in the morning, and it will continue on for the rest of the day. Is the movie Vice accurate depiction of him, or is it kind of dressed up? No, it is a fairly accurate depiction of Dick Cheney. As a matter of fact, one of the first people I texted this morning was Adam McKay. Literally, I woke up, I saw the news, and he was one of the first people that I directly texted. I was like, oh my God, Dick Cheney died. Vice is one of my favorite movies. I have shown bits and pieces of Vice on this broadcast on numerous occasions. It's, I think, a very good work to understand exactly the evils of Dick Cheney, but it's also one of the formative works to understand, like, the global war on terror, how we got here. It's fantastic. Yes, I do know Adam McKay. He is a friend of the show. So, and his movie I'm talking about, for those of you who don't know, is Vice. And it was an incredible movie, an incredible work that I think scratches the surface of American empire. I think Sam Cedar said it was too forgiving. I would say that, yes, if anything, it's a good way to basically lean Americans into understanding the evil doings of American empire. But there is definitely, I mean, he is so fucking evil. He is so evil that it is hard to put to text. It is hard to show in this kind of format when you have a start point and an end point, and you have to, like, make this ambitious work. You have to make this entertaining. It is virtually impossible to describe it without engaging in some kind of, like, surrealist structure to show the metric ton of awfulness that Dick Cheney brought about the world. It is not whitewashing Dick Cheney. I don't think Vice was whitewashing Dick Cheney, but I will say that it's a good starting point to understand how evil he truly was. Did you ever see the movie Vice with Christian Bale as Dick Cheney? Brother, that is precisely what I'm talking about right now. I literally just said that I texted the person who made the movie this morning. It was the first person I texted when I found out that Dick Cheney died. So yes, I am very familiar. It's one of my favorite movies. And I think it's great. It doesn't show the full vision, the grand design, but it does. It's a good starting point for many Americans to help you understand some of the domestic, some of the awfulness of the things that you experience on a daily basis that cause you harm, that cause you stress, where you go, why is this the way that this government operates? Why is there no one who is reasonable who can fucking put an end to any of this madness? When you look at all the shit that Donald Trump is doing on a daily fucking basis, you must remember that the Bush-Cheney administration, mostly shepherded by Dick Cheney, because Bush was more so a puppet figure, is quite literally responsible for it. Like, it's Ronald Reagan, and then it's George W. Bush and Dick Cheney, more so Dick Cheney than even George W. Bush. This is not I'm not trying to abdicate any responsibility. I'm not trying to take away any of the responsibility and the blame from George W. Bush. But I will say that Dick Cheney was the mastermind behind a lot of these initiatives. He was the brain behind the operations, because George W. Bush certainly did not have many brains. But in any case, obviously we'll talk about all of that and more, and we'll get into it as well. But one more time, like I said, what a glorious day. We got merch drop. We got the fucking November 4th elections happening all around the country, from Minneapolis to New Jersey to New York City as well, and the mayoral race in New York City and Virginia as well. And hopefully this will be the beginning of the comeback of the left flank, and hopefully this will expand into and blossom into a much bigger thing. Is it over for Jay Jones? Video shows Virginia Democratic Attorney General candidate Jay Jones seemingly trying to kick a dog. What? I don't think that's like. I don't think that's like. I don't know what's going on here, but Jay Jones is winning, so L's for the Republicans. Okay, that's nothing. He's just like, do you guys not have fucking animals? Like, what is going on? Do you not? It's like spanking your dog in the ass, and then someone from afar being like, well, "How dare you abuse your fucking dog?" Like, what are you talking about? He just does like a fucking fake swing and then pats the dog in the ass. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be looking at. Jesus Christ. Anyway, Jay Jones is gonna win. Okay. You can see he clearly tried shocking the dog too. Yeah, he was probably trying to do dog abuse. Meanwhile, Chris, you know, I'm literally fucking domed a dog. Jesus Christ. All right. In any case, developmental experts have been out on spanking for decades. For dogs, we're talking about dogs, not children. Okay. All right. Let me blast off because obviously there's a lot going on, okay? There is a lot going on in the world, and there's so much to talk about. I had a bunch of guests yesterday, and I feel like I have a lot of guests that are supposed to be coming in today as well. But I've noticed that, like, when I have guests, it's fun, it's great. However, there is a problem. I can't get a fucking word in edgewise, and I can't do the coverage that I want to do. And I've realized that, like, I realized that that's like, you know, it kind of gets in the way. There was a lot of back and forth and crosstalk taking place, as I had, in the words of Kayla, Hassan having different men in his hotel room every hour. I am a little bit of a slut. Okay, I am a little bit of a slut. You already know it, and you know, we're going to get into all of that. Bro, watch that crazy Lizzie anti-ZOHRAN girl crash out on the streets in New York City. It's so beautiful, man. We're going to get so much good content. Okay, don't count your chips when you're sitting at the table, okay? There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing is done. Just hold on. I don't want to run around and celebrate just yet. I'm celebrating other shit right now. There will be time for celebrations, hopefully, inshallah, when the time comes. But do not. Just go out and vote right now, okay? I'm sorry if you think I'm superstitious. I am superstitious. I'm not fucking doing it until I see it in writing, okay? But in any case, wow. Okay. Dick is dead. NYC election day. It's election day. Snap battle in courts. Trump hotter than ZOHRAN. Let's delete that one. Is Zomentum real? Election party later. My boss lives in New York City, and I tried convincing her to vote, but she's too sure ZOHRAN will win. So here's the thing. Here's the thing I want to say. I had a very funny story for you guys this morning because I'm just like canvassing to the best of my ability without officially canvassing. Anytime I'm around someone, I immediately go like, oh, you know, this is what's happening. Are you aware that there's an election happening today? You know, I try to get them to vote for ZOHRAN if they haven't already. Try to lock them down. And I had a very interesting Uber journey this morning, and I wonder if like I wonder if the Uber drivers' children are actually Hasanabi heads, because I found the most interesting New York voter. I'm gonna get into it in a second. Anyway, Dick is dead. It's election day. Snap battle in courts. Is Zomentum real? Andrew Cuomo's Broncos making waves. What am I missing right now? There's a lot happening in the world, but okay. Election party later. Many guests. Get in. Get in now. Why aren't you? Oh, yeah. New merch day at ideology.shop. All right. And I'll do a merch post later as well. Lots of Trump on Truth Socials. I know. Trump is losing his fucking mind as well. Is Zomentum real? Trump is losing it. How many times did you vote today? Illegally? Legally once. Illegally around 12 times. In general, Americans are so fucking lazy and comfortable in their privileges, it doesn't take much for them to just bet on other people doing the voting for them, Lamau. I know. And most people are just like utterly oblivious to what's going on. But let's start. Let's start here. I get in the Uber, and I'm traveling to the Gowanus Canal, in the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal, in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, New York. Okay? I'm on my way. I'm on a journey. I'm on my way to go to the Majority Report. Scene. I start talking to my Uber driver, as I do every single time I'm around an individual that is living in New York City. I say, hey, man, do you live in New York? That's how I started off, because sometimes people live in New Jersey, right? Because the city is unfortunately too unaffordable. Okay? He says, yes. This is a 55-year-old Asian man. And I ask him, oh, did you know that there's an election taking place today, a New York mayoral election? He says, yes, of course I know. I say, oh, if you don't mind, who are you voting for? And he says to me he's voting for Andrew Cuomo. Stops me dead in my tracks. This is the first time I've encountered someone thus far that said he's not locked in on Zohran Mamdani. But the story doesn't end there. What I thought was even more interesting is the fact that he goes, I actually voted for Zohran Mamdani in the fucking primary. He tells me that he is a lifelong, solid, reliable D voter. And I saw this as an opportunity to convert a potential Cuomo vote back to Zohran Mamdani. Okay, he went for Zohran in the primary, and now he's in the general going for Cuomo. I was like, what does that mean? He tells me that Zohran Mamdani has a lot of pie-in-the-sky ideals, and that it is far too costly, and that he'll never be able to pay for it. And I told him, well, did you know? And I asked him, like, what do you mean? What are some of these? What are some of these issues? Like, what are some of the policy promises that you think are impossible? Right? Impossible to do, impossible to pull off. He says to me, well, the bus thing. He wants to make the trains free. He wants to make the buses free. You know, he wants to make it all free. We can't do that. We can't have that. We can't have nice things. And I say to myself in my internal monologue, here we are. Another American coming from an immigrant background who has been bludgeoned into thinking that good things are not possible. And yet he's voting against his best interest. So I asked him, did you know that the fast and free buses thing actually took place in New York City? Because as Zohran Mamdani, when he was an assembly member, he actually got one of the lines to be free. He says to me, no, I did not know that. I say, yeah. Then I ask him, where'd you hear about this? Don't you feel like a lot of these billionaires and a lot of these millionaires that don't mind if the city is unaffordable are actually just kind of lying to people to say that these things that are very possible, that have been done before, don't you feel like those guys are trying to manipulate people? Good working class people such as yourself? He says, yeah. He says, you know, you're starting to convince me. He tells me his children are voting for Zohran. His children are actually pie-in-the-sky idealists, that they actually convinced them to vote for Zohran in the primary, and yet in the general there is a difference in opinion. That's when I was like, I wonder if his kids are actually fans of mine, but couldn't convince their dad. So I don't know if any of your if any of you guys in here, if you have, if you had a similar situation with your parents, they went for ZOHRAN in the primary, and then in the general, they kind of wanted to move in the direction of Cuomo. Just, you know, speak out, okay? You got to push your parents a little bit more, guys. Have conversations with them. But basically, I was able to, I think, convince him that voting for ZOHRAN, just like he did in the primary, but also in the general as well, would be the good thing to do in this circumstance, because it was actually the billionaires and millionaires that were out to get him. I asked him, you know, what did you think about Bernie Sanders back in the day? He said he liked Bernie Sanders. He liked Bernie Sanders quite a bit. He ended up voting for Hillary Clinton, of course, in the general, but like he was a fan of Bernie Sanders and still is. And I said, well, remember what people did to Bernie Sanders in the primary, and how much they attacked him and how they never stopped really attacking him. And yet we now realize that his politics, his vision for change was correct. That's what they're trying to do to Zohran Mamdani. And I think that was a decent way to get him to change his mind on this. But once again, I will never feel satiated. I will never feel as though it is a given. I have been hurt too many times before, and I too, as a lifelong leftist, am always going to wait until the very last moment. I'm going to wait until the very last moment. I'm not going to celebrate ahead of time. I'm going to be steadfast in my support, but I will still, of course, wait until the very last moment for celebration. Okay? You can call me. You can say I'm too pessimistic. You can say I'm too superstitious, but I've been hurt too many times, far too many times. And I will say that not only have I been hurt far too many times, I also do think that the average American genuinely just doesn't want nice things for themselves. They have a punishment fetish. No matter how seemingly reasonable or modest the incremental change might be, no matter how good these policies might be, I think Americans sometimes look directly at good policies and say, no! Okay? They say, no! So you just got to wait it out. But I will tell you, as far as the vibes on the ground, people seemingly are very excited about ZOHRAN. Okay? They're very, very excited seemingly about Zohran Mamdani. The Zomentum does seem palpable. Okay? But you never know. So, Americans would rather shoot ourselves in the foot than let someone undeserving have our shoes. Well, there's that. But then there's also the people that unironically feel as though, they don't deserve nice things. That they have destroyed all confidence within themselves, the confidence they have within themselves to make change. They've destroyed all of the hope because they've been hurt time and time again. So that is part of the reason why. Who knows? How do you call yourself a lifelong leftist when you eat with your right hand? Good one, comrade. Virginia polls close at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. New Jersey polls close at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And New York City polls close at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And the California polls close at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Minneapolis, the mayoral race polls close at 9 p.m. Eastern Time as well. That's another race that we're obviously paying close attention to with Omar Fateh, the Mamdani of the Midwest. Shirt is way too small, bro, but where can I cop? It's a large. I'm wearing a large. I'm wearing a size large shirt. I am obviously, unfortunately, very brolic, perhaps a little too brolic for this large shirt that I'm currently wearing, but you can purchase it at ideology.shop. That's right. That's ideology.shop. American made, union made. The new Dark Ages collection has been released. Yeah, titties are on lock. Titties are on point today. Okay. All right. In any case, do you think anyone that could get the same kind of momentum as ZOHRAN in the 2026 midterms? Yes, there are some, and we shall see. Do you deliver to Lebanon? It's a worldwide shipping. Of course, part of the reason why this is fucking stupid and Americans are purposefully propagandized against and are kept stupid is because of the likes of dipshits like Elon Musk, who is literally using his fucking platform that he purchased to basically manipulate people, to make them crazier. And we're going to talk about that as well. The New York City ballot form is a scam. He says no ID is required. Other is last in the bottom right. One of the most insane things I've ever seen. It's like, remember when remember how I told you that Republicans, by and large, have this very interesting and very sinister method of looking at something that is a normal part of the process, knowing full well that the average American is uninitiated with this normal part of the process, and then describing it in this sinister way. Describing this in this scary, creepy way, right? Example I always use is like, you could do that with anything. You could talk about surgery, for example. Like, Republicans will be like, well, transgender surgery is butchery. You're just like chopping up people's body parts. Well, technically, that's open heart surgery as well. If you want to describe it in such gruesome terms, you could. And the same thing happens here. This is a normal ballot in the state of New York, in the citywide ballot. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump, I believe, was also endorsed by two separate parties. He was on the conservative line and the Republican Party ticket. And yet, for people outside of New York, they don't know that, right? So Elon Musk is actually taking advantage of the fact that many people don't know, and maybe he's too stupid to know, right? And of course, New York City has fusion voting, so candidates can run with multiple party lines. This is a 2024 sample ballot from Rochester. Both Harris and Trump appeared twice because they had two ballot lines. Basic New York politics here, but anything can be a conspiracy if you want it to be, says David Weigel. Now, of course, David Weigel's correction has only gotten 96 likes because he's on the platform owned by the fucking idiotic billionaire Elon Musk. Elon Musk's idiotic statement, casting a cloud of doubt over the fucking accuracy of the elections that are taking place in New York, which is, by the way, literal electioneering. This is supposed to be illegal. In a competent democracy with a competent governance, Elon would go to prison for this, or at least he would be punished for this. This is a way to freak people out. Okay? And yet Elon Musk, because he is a billionaire and endlessly powerful and endlessly fucking stupid, can just bot his own shit into oblivion, have this moronic thing get in front of 13 million eyeballs on his platform and try to engage in electioneering at the very last second. I don't know how we fight back against this stuff. I don't know how we fight back against this stuff in the absence of good governance. There has to be rules around this sort of thing, okay? This is literal election interference. I know that it's great that we focus on the positives and we focus on ZOHRAN and what he means for so many people and how he's been able to capture the attention of at least 100,000 door knockers. It's an incredible, incredible campaign, a real underdog story. And we were there. We were there at the ground floor. This community was there at the ground floor, and it's fucking awesome. But make no mistake, the reason why I will never be comfortable until it's done is because I understand the unimaginable faucet of misinformation against this campaign, the Islamophobia that is dialed up to 11 against this campaign, with billionaires and millionaires and numerous different corporate interests getting together and actively trying to propagandize against this dude who clearly has the motion, he clearly has the momentum, he clearly has the charisma. And the reason for why they want to do that is because they don't want you to dream. They don't want you to have the audacity of hope, a hope for better things and the possibility of better things, a hope for a better vision for a future. They do not want you to feel that way. They want you angry. They want you divided. They want you to hate one another. They want you to constantly fucking argue amongst yourselves and feel angry about random irrelevant things rather than those who are actually designing this society. And Elon Musk is one of the most visible aspects of this corrupt billionaire structure that exists. Okay? Because what has ZOHRAN advanced, if not modest change in the direction, just offering a crumb back to the working poor, offering something that billionaires find to be devastating, of course, which is to dream, to have confidence once again in democracy, in the democratic process, to have confidence once again in your fellow man, that they will go out and they will be able to achieve incremental change. They don't want that. Capital owners do not want that at all, and they will fight back tooth and nail, as we have seen in this campaign. Some of you will say, ZOHRAN is not a radical. He's actually dropped all of his associations. But even then, even with the moderation that he has presented, even then, that is seemingly a bridge too far for capital owners in this city and capital owners broadly across the country. And that's precisely the reason why you see the likes of Ted Cruz now supporting Andrew Cuomo, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Ted Cruz. Virtually every Republican in the country is either demanding that Zohran Mamdani get deported, demanding that he get denaturalized, or demanding that at the very least you vote against him. Think about that. These people do not want even a shred of hope. They don't want you to have a speck of hope. They don't want you to recognize that united through the process of collective action or through the process of voting, that you can make changes, incremental changes, modest changes that you are deserving of. They don't want you to have that. And they're fucking terrified. They're terrified of even modest social democracy. How can you look at this and see it as anything but the uniparty, the rot, the institutional rot that exists in American politics? That is the reason why so many people refuse to get up from the couch and go out and fucking vote. Yeah, here is a sitting representative. A sitting representative, Andy Ogles, representing Tennessee's 5th Congressional District, saying, "Wake up, New York," 18 hours ago, showing images of 9/11. Dennis M. Hogan responds, he says, "I grew up on Staten Island, lost friends and neighbors on 9/11, lost my dad to a 9/11 related cancer after he spent months working at Ground Zero. It's beyond disrespectful for any congressman to be posting this, let alone one from Tennessee. God Almighty." The way that these people have basically tried to actively weaponize 9/11 against a Muslim mayoral candidate that is objectively popular. I cannot believe it. It is so fucking transparent. Now you got the Andrew Cuomo's of the world doing the same thing, but their association can't be as direct because they still have to abide by some semblance of civility. So he will go on a radio show where the radio show host says ZOHRAN would cheer on a 9/11, and he'll agree, Andrew Cuomo, as he did with the Sid Rosenberg show, or he'll spend millions of dollars, all the PACs that are defending him, all the real estate PACs that are defending him, Michael Bloomberg, the Tisch family, Bill A. Packman, numerous others will try to tie Zohran Mamdani back to 9/11 by literally using someone like myself, another American citizen, to say, oh, he actually loves 9/11. Look, he did a fucking stream when he was in a primary, a very crowded field, when he was at 5%. He did a stream with Hassan Piker. A person like myself that obviously a lot of my haters will look to that and go, oh yeah, you're such a toxic figure. What I said in 2019 about 9/11 was obviously a reflection on a concept that there's academic consensus over, blowback, right? And I talked about in 2019 extensively how I did no favors to myself, something that I even apologized for. And yet they have basically tried to recirculate this for only one reason, okay? And that is because they want to associate Zohran Mamdani with 9/11. That's it. He's Muslim. They want to say he wants to do 9/11. They want to say he cheers on 9/11. And we don't need to speculate on this because Andrew Cuomo did unironically agree as recently as 2 weeks ago on the Sid Rosenberg show that Zohran Mamdani would cheer on another 9/11. And yet there was very little commotion or controversy surrounding this. Isn't that fucking crazy? Isn't that crazy? Honestly, it's so crazy that your 821 takes are coming back in this way, considering that even this community, 821 was falling off the past couple of years. It's not. It's not back. It's not back at all. They're trying to make this a real thing, but I don't think voters necessarily care about that. Not even a little bit. I think the ones who do care about that kind of stuff already hated Zohran Mamdani. And they hated him because he's Muslim, or they hated him because he's an anti-Zionist. That's it. Now, so much to talk about, so much to cover in this day. You touched on it on Majority Report, but the Messing mania is clear. Yeah. Deborah Messing has lost their fucking mind. I think many Americans have lost their fucking minds. I don't know why they're acting like New York City isn't filled with transplants at this point. A lot of the legacy New Yorkers are long gone because they were priced out. Yeah, but I don't even think the legacy New Yorkers that experienced 9/11 have this exact same fucking attitude. I guess, and I've talked to a lot of people, like a lot of politicians, and advisors around this on background to try to like figure out what the fuck people were trying to do with this line of attack.